Hello, welcome back. We'll start off by creating a short Hello World program and save the same. The program will simply print out Hello World. We'll then open the command prompt and then try to run our program from there. We simply navigate to the directory where we stored our program, type in Python, then call our Hello World program, press enter, and our program gets executed on the command prompt. Besides running already saved programs, we can also use the command line to execute Python code directly. Type in Python, then write our short code. And get back our print output. Now, we'll get a closer look at the syntax of Python language and what makes it a joy to work with. Firstly, it's worth noting that Python uses indentation to indicate a block of code. If the indentation is skipped, an error would be thrown during program execution. The amount of spacing is left to the discretion of the programmer, but it is worth noting that you have to use the same number of spaces in the same block of code. Otherwise the console will happily log an error. Next, we'll look at Python variables. With Python we have no command for declaring a variable, so we simply denote the variable then assign a value to it without assigning it a data type. If you want to see what data type your variable really is, you could use the type function. For the instance given, variable x belongs to the integer data type, while variable y belongs to the string data type. Do not confuse data type declaration with typecasting. With typecasting we aim at changing a variable from one data type to another, so as to ensure that a variable is processed correctly by a function. Casting in Python is quite straightforward. You simply assign the variable a value casted using a constructor function like the integer, float, or string constructors. While at it, it is worth noting that statements in Python are denoted using the hash sign. The compiler will simply pass a statement on a line preceded with a hash. Example, we might want to convert an integer to a float data type in order to allow for the use of decimal or fraction parts, as the integer data type allows only for positive or negative whole numbers. It is worth noting that you can change the data type of a variable to a different one, even after it's already set. For string variables, you could use single or double quotes when declaring the same. Variable names are also case sensitive. So the latter capital A shall not overwrite the former variable, small a. When writing Python variables, some practices to avoid include: beginning variable name with a number, using a character outside alphanumeric characters, or an underscore in your variable name, using more than one word for your variable. If you want to use more than 2 letters as a variable name, you could join them together using underscores as in the snake case. You could also join the words together and capitalize each as in the Pascal case or camel case. In order to output the value of a variable, you would use the print method and pass in the variable without quotation. You could also add 2 variables or concatenate the output with a string as is shown in the instance. Global variables are used whenever you need multiple functions to access a variable. A local variable, on the other hand, can only be used within a single function. Python's global variables are made by simply creating the variable outside of any function. They can be used both inside and outside of any function. You can also change the scope of a variable from local to global within a function by making use of the global keyword, and it can be accessed outside the function or within another function. To make a function, simply use the keyword def and use the semicolons. Then tab the blocks appropriately. To call the function, simply denote its name followed by brackets. Lastly, Python allows you to assign multiple variables different values in one single line. You simply create the variables, separated by a comma, and assign them values, separated by commas. You could also assign multiple variables a single value in one line too. For a collection comprising of a list, tuple, or what's commonly an array, we can extract the values of those into variables. This is called unpacking. Example: a list of vehicles can contain truck, wagon, and car. We can unpack those, each element being assigned a variable, and print them. So now you have it, an in-depth discussion of Python syntax, and some best practices regarding the same. Subscribe to the channel and don't forget to hit the bell icon while at it, so you get notified of the next and subsequent educational videos.